The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the webinar this morning. We're going to be talking about DocumentPath and how simple it is to send documents with this ISV. We're really excited to have Rob Hansen here this morning. If you guys don't know, DocumentPath is a provider of ISV add-ons for NAV. And Rob will be showing us DocumentPath as a tool to send documents more easily out of NAV. Just a reminder also for the mechanics of how our webinars work, any questions you have, go ahead and type them right into the question box. I will get them called out and answered for you. We also are recording our webinar, so the recording will be available later today on our website, abc-computers.com. And with that, Rob, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Abby, and good morning, everybody. Is my screen still showing? You can see the PowerPoint on screen, Abby?
It sure is. It looks great.
Okay, yeah, I just have a second monitor here, so I wanted to double check. So as Abby said, I'm going to be showing you a product for NAV today called DocumentPath. I'm Rob Hansen. I'm a partner with Epimatic. We develop ISV add-ons for NAV. Among other things, we do implementations as well. The area of sending documents out of NAV is something I've worked in for a long time. So we're pretty excited about the functionality, and we've seen some huge improvements for the companies that have rolled it out. So the company I'm with is Epimatic. We are in the process of rebranding the ISV side of our business as DynamicsPath. And we do have a website that is not launched yet, but will be live soon. So DocumentPath is the product we're focusing on today, but we do have other add-ons for NAV as well that we're equally as excited about. As for what DocumentPath is, as I said, it's an add-on for Dynamics NAV. It's a pretty simple concept. It's all built around streamlining and automating the sending of documents. So that's all your sales, purchase, service management documents, quotes, orders, invoices, customer statements, pretty much all of the standard reports that you would generate out of NAV. And I need to emphasize that the product is purely focused on sending. DocumentPath is not an incoming document management tool. So there are a number of good add-ons for that purpose. DocumentPath will work alongside those just fine, but we stick to the sending side, which is where we feel that we add a lot of value. So the product provides advanced capabilities to get documents to the right people quickly and easily. And I'll cover that in a bit more in a second. It's really all about optimizing time, just making life easy for users of NAV. So the core benefits of what it does, if we just use sales processes as an example, in your business, you receive an order, you go through all the ERP stuff, procure the items, manufacture it, ship it, invoice it. So all that core stuff, NAV handles very, very well. It's a great product. We love NAV. We're a little biased there, but really it's solid end to end. You get to the point of sending the invoice out, following up on the outstanding invoice, and this is an area where NAV is lacking to a degree. It's simple enough to save a document to PDF format and email it out, but those are manual steps that you need to take. So DocumentPath is focused on this area, again, to reduce the time it takes. And if we look at something like following up on outstanding invoices, it ties into getting paid sooner. So there's a payback in that regard. The product also supports some advanced processes that are just difficult out of the box with NAV if you want to move to electronic delivery. So if you look at customer statements, issued reminders, electronic payment remittance advices to vendors, or for anyone on payroll, sending out payroll stubs, when NAV produces these documents, they come out as one large single print job. So if you generate statements for your 200 of your customers, you're going to get a 200 or more page PDF file. that's just not suited to sending out to each of them because it has everybody else's information in it. So DocumentPath adds capabilities to get these documents out in batch mode very easily. The other nice thing too, statements and issued reminders can include copies of open invoices directly within the PDF. So that just minimizes the time on AR staff to deal with all the callbacks saying, we're missing an invoice, we never received it, can you resend it out? Again, it comes back to everything being done in one shot, quick and easy. As with the incoming document management side, there are other solutions on the market for sending documents out of NAV. The ways we view our solution as superior, we do believe we have the richest feature set for what the product does. We don't know of another product out there that can send all the documents that we do as easily as we do, or at all in many cases. We have a very easy, low-cost implementation. So everything you see today, it's all within NAV. There are no external systems to configure. We don't deal with SharePoint and outside tools. It's a pretty low-cost rollout and quick and easy to get up and running. There's no customization to be done. So DocumentPath will support all of your existing reports and documents, whether you've customized the layouts or not. It'll pick those up. And some tools require a bit of customization to be done to the report layouts to work. We don't require any of that. And we like to use the phrase, it's an experience-powered design. So as I said, I have a long history with sending documents out of NAV multiple different ways through different projects in the past and add-ons I've been part of in the past. And that, again, it comes back to the rich feature set we have. There's a lot of stuff in here that other solutions you would have to customize to make them do it. We've hit a lot of those requirements previously, so we've built them into the product from day one. So that's my quick and painless salesy stuff. I'm going to jump over now to actually show the product. And I'm using a NAV 2013 R2 database here. A lot of the customers we talk to are on that release more than any other. The product is available for NAV 2009, 2013, 2013 R2, and NAV 2015. So as long as you are using the newer role-tailored Windows client, the product will work fine for you. So if I jump over to the departments menu, once DocumentPath is added to your database, you'll have a DocumentPath menu under departments. Just popping up the list of document codes. These are all of the core processes that we support. So as I said, quotes, orders, invoices, statements, all that stuff. And the list is longer than what you see here because some of these documents work on both the sales and purchase side. For example, orders, you have both sales orders and purchase orders. So the list is a bit longer than what you see here. The product does have tools to send out any report from NAV, so your, the 1,000 reports or however many you have in your system. There are ways to send those out, but the highest value of the product is managing these processes to get core documents out easily. Once DocumentPath is added, the setup is pretty straightforward. It's a matter of setting up message templates to define what you want to send out and how you want them to look. And if I just look at a simple example of a purchase order template, this is a code that you would define, give it a description. There are options for body text, whether it'll be a plain text email or fancier HTML formatting. What the subject line will be, what the attachment will be named, and the message body text as well. And when I go to open the message body text, I get a prompt asking if I want to open the merge field list. And you can already see a couple merge codes used here. So I'll say yes, I want to open that up. So again, it's all about saving time, and if each time a user sends out a PO or a sales invoice, they have to type up a message, that takes time. So the idea here is to configure your templates so that it's a quick send action and everything is filled in for you. It looks good, and off you go. In this case, I start off with greetings, and I have a merge code here. I've used the purchase order number as another merge code. And if I look at the merge field list, because this template is linked to purchase orders, we recognize which tables are involved in that process. So you can use merge fields from any of these tables. In the case of the purchase order number, when I was building this template, I just had to expand the purchase header table, look for the field I wanted, which is the number, and this gives us the code to use. So simply right-click and copy that, paste it in, whether it's in the body or subject line, wherever you want to use it. There's functionality as well at the template level and some other places to support additional attachments. So in the event of a terms and conditions sheet that you want to include with every PO you send out, this is a simple spot to say every time a document goes out using this template, attach an additional file. Could be Word document, could be anything. If it's a PDF that you select, it will be merged right into the main PDF along with the PO by default. You can force it to attach it as a separate file if you want, but it's kind of nice to have everything consolidated into one. So there are places the product eliminates customization that would normally have had to be done. Each user also defines their signature. So I have mine entered in here. So this is a matter of copying and pasting your Outlook signature in to get things coming out how you want. We support, again, both plain text and HTML formats, so you can get logos and everything else coming through. By default, anytime I send using DocumentPath, it will use the template that is selected for the message, and then it will add my signature to the end. One bit of functionality I will point out, in the case of customer statements as an example, this is a scenario where we wanted the email to go out from a central accounts receivable address rather than my personal address. So this template has been set up instead of going out through the user's setup, which would be their Outlook normally, although it can be other methods. This template is set to go out through SMTP mail. That enables it to go directly out through either the server or the client machine, and it enables us to override the from address. So that's the question we get all the time, having things go out from a central address. The product handles that out of the box. So in this case, because I'm going from a central address, I've said I do not want to append a signature when a user runs the functions. The template itself, I won't open the merge field list here, so I've defined the entire message, including a signature in this case. So the first step is doing some of those setups just to define how the messages will look when they go out. The next step is to configure the different documents and who they will go to. So if I open up Customer 10,000, DocumentPath adds a new document sending tab to the bottom of the customer card, vendor card, and employee card. And this is the place where lines get added for every document that's going to be sent out. So in this case, Customer 10,000, we send out invoices, customer statements, sales shipments. For each one, we can say how it goes out. So invoices are emailed out. This isn't a full training session, so I'm not going to go through all the different options, but there's a lot of flexibility to define how the message is structured, if it's a single send or batch mode for multiple documents. So we can specify who it's going to go to. In this case, I've linked the invoice to go to the master record email address, which is the email from the customer card itself. But you'll see we can also have documents go to different addresses. And again, this is a spot, once you get into a scenario where you send different documents to different people at the customer end, it gets very complicated to send those out manually and know who they should go to. So there are a few options here. It can be linked to the master record. It can be manually entered on the line. It can go to a specific contact if you're using contacts in NAV, or you can set it to use the document contact. So on each invoice that goes out, if you're selecting a specific contact at the customer, DocumentPath can route it using those setups also. And as I scroll over, you'll see there are places to define CC addresses, BCC addresses, and then we get to the message template code. This is the spot where you say, whenever we're sending out an invoice, use this template code that I've defined. Again, that dictates the subject line, body text, all the structure of the message. And we also include some generic merge fields right on these lines. And there's a setup in the product to change the caption. So I've changed our merge field 1 to be first name greeting. So this lets us put in, again, just simple first name, or in cases where you're sending to multiple recipients, a combination of names. And again, that lets you then start off your message template by, with a friendly greeting addressed to these people. The other thing I'll point out here is we do support multiple lines for a given document. So in the case of a sales shipment, when it's posted, we want to immediately email out the document as an electronic confirmation, and we also want to spit out a hard copy to serve as a packing slip to go in with the shipment. So it's there's a lot of flexibility in the setups, and typically we've been able to handle all the scenarios that have come up. And over time, as ones have come up that we didn't have handling for, one example being multiple different languages of the contacts that you're dealing with, we're pretty quick to expand the product to handle those. So we want it to be the clear-cut solution for sending out of NAV. Once the setups are all done, and I'll point out quickly too, if you already are running on NAV and you have your customers set up with email addresses and your vendors as well, if you have a large customer or vendor base, it would be a lot of work to go through and create those setups. We do have a tool to automatically do that using your existing data. So this tool could be run, for example, to say we want to create lines for all customers, non-batch mode or batch mode or both, to send out by email with the record linked to the master record email address. In this case, I'm creating lines for sales invoices, what to do if a line already exists. So this gets back to that easy, low-cost implementation. With some of the tools we provide, it's not a lot of work to get the product up and running. And I have to apologize for the background noise. I don't know if you're hearing a dog barking in the background, but I'm working from my home office and we got a puppy last month, so that's you never know how that's going to go. Once all your setups are done, the product adds a number of actions throughout NAV. So if I jump over to posted sales invoices, for example, we have functions at the top of the page. We can force an invoice out by email or fax if we want to. But the typical usage of the product is to say we want to send this using setup. This means, however the customer was set up to receive invoices, we want NAV to look at that and send it out accordingly. The user then just doesn't have to ever keep track of how customers want different documents. Just click the function. I get a prompt whether I want to review it before sending. I'm going to leave that turned on so we can see it come up on screen. Again, once your templates are all set up and you trust what gets generated, you start using the functions without reviewing on screen. You just let them go out. In this case, I will review it. So it generates my Outlook message with, again, the name inserted as a merge field and all the other stuff we set up. So the attachment is a PDF, and as I said earlier, if you've customized your document layouts, the product will pick that up just fine. Everything's going to look as it does when you print today. Another option I had when I sent that document using setup Bear with me a second. Seems my connection has stalled. Just going to reopen NAV for a second. I'm not sure why that one is not cooperating. So back to my posted sales invoices. When I go to send using setup, by default it will use the template code that was defined on the sending setup for the customer. I mentioned in the PowerPoint, the example of following up on an unpaid invoice. This is an example where you can create multiple template codes. So I have my sales invoice template that goes out when the invoice is initially sent. Later on, if I'm following up to see why this hasn't been paid, I can use different wording to send it again with wording to ask about the payment status. And the other function we have available from the lists in NAV is to send a batch of documents using setup. So this is a case where you would filter down the list to what you want to send. And there are many scenarios for that. One could be you post invoices throughout the day and you want to send them all as a batch later in the day. In that case, I could filter on posting date is today, get my list and send them out. Even ad hoc inquiries that come in, a customer wants copies of all their invoices from last month. Again, just filter down the list to that customer number and the posting date range. And then you can use the send batch function. And this gives you a few options. It's using the same core functionality. It gives you the option to generate a separate message per invoice. So that would be the same as if you clicked each one and sent it one by one. The product will also consolidate into a single message per customer in this case. And it can attach each invoice as a separate PDF attachment, or it can consolidate them all into a single PDF. So I'm not going to run the function now, but there are just a lot of different ways to get things out in the way you want and make life easy. The product also adds, again, if I go to sales orders, I have those same functions or actions at the top of the page, but we also do add a post and send function to the pre-posted documents. So this lets you all in one shot, in the case of a sales order, same options you normally get in NAV, ship, invoice, or ship and invoice. This will post the documents and look at the customer's setup and send out the documents accordingly. So in the case of customer 10,000, if I did a ship and invoice, that will email out the shipment confirmation, print it to serve as a packing slip, and also email out the resulting invoice. So it's, again, just about streamlining and making life easy. So those core functions are throughout NAV, so all the sales documents, purchase documents, service management. And then we get into some of the advanced tools that I talked about. So first one being sending out customer statements. So this is a function, again, this will let you filter however you want, just like anything else in NAV. But this will let you generate statements for whatever customers you want, whether it's just one as a one-off or 400 of them. And this will run through and send out statements to those customers one by one via email or whatever their setup is. So again, it's just something you simply can't do with base NAV, and a lot of companies still mail out hard copy statements because of that. We also give the option I talked about earlier to include copies of open documents. So this would include a copy of every open invoice directly in the PDF along with the statement. And I'm just going to clear some of this out. I'm going to try running this right now. So I'm filtering just for customer 10,000. So it's created the statement, and now it's generating the open invoices. And I've set myself up rather, in this case, because it's SMTP mail. If you recall, I set the customer statement template that way so we could override the from address. If I open up the attachment, we see we have the customer statement, and then each of the open invoices. So there were 7 open documents on the customer. We only ended up with the statement plus 4 attachments. So that would imply there were a couple sales journal entries put through that didn't come from an invoice or credit memo that we can attach. And there are tools. I'll just cancel without sending. So we get a summary at the end of what happened, whether there were any problems or not. Again, because it's a batch function, there are settings to skip over any errors and send out everything that succeeds. Then you can rerun this function and have it stop on errors so that you can deal with them. And there's also a filter here for the last send date. Again, because it's a batch function, if it were to fail halfway through after 200 customers, you need a way to have it resume where it left off without resending them all. So that's where the last send date filter comes in. Typically, if you're running statements, I would say I want to run it for all customers where the last statement send date was before today, kick it off and let it run. If it were to crash halfway through, I would just start it again the exact same way. Every customer that it had already processed would have their last send date updated, and then the process would skip over them to resume where it left off. And again, because of the function to include copies of open documents, this becomes a great way, even for just a one-off statement that a customer requests, it lets it all go out in one shot, again, to avoid those callbacks that invoices are missing or lost. Another one of the advanced features of the product is electronic payments. And I'm not going to run the process here, but again, in NAV, I like to say that DocumentPath makes electronic payments truly electronic. Out of the box, it does all the electronic processing, transmits the file to the bank, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're left with a large hard copy print job, or even if you send it to a PDF printer, it's one large document with the payments for every vendor. Just not something you can send out to each one through email unless you want to break it up somehow. So our product lets you go through your existing electronic payment process, and right before posting, you simply send out the remittance advices. So same as any other document, you have a template you define on each of these vendors. You set up a sending line to indicate if they want their remittance advices by email or hard copy. The product will just do whatever you've told it to do. And I'm not going to talk about the payroll side. If anyone on the call uses Serenic Payroll and would like to know about it, you can just message Abby through the interface. But I'm not going to show the pay stub sending for employees if it's irrelevant to everyone. So those are the most core functions of the product, again, for sending all documents out, as well as advanced things like customer statements and electronic payments. We do have some general functions as well. Once you have a lot of setups in NAV for sending documents, you may want to leverage those for other purposes. So we have a function to send any report out of NAV. So again, this would let you, whether it's your item list or whatever you want to send, this would let you select that and use some of your setups to send it out using DocumentPath functionality. We also provide some basic marketing tools. It doesn't have to be marketing, could be stuff to your vendor or even internal employees. This tool to send an existing PDF will let you leverage your DocumentPath sending setups to send some PDF out. So a good example is a brochure on a promotion you're running. This would be a case where you could set up a template with the body text and subject line announcing the promotion, design a brochure in PDF format, and then use this tool to send out, if it was to all your customers to let them know about it, which document code setup do you want to send. So, sorry, I'm just getting a call that will bounce through in a second. Sorry about that. So if I wanted to use all of my customer invoice sending setups, I would select that. And then my template, so if I had created one called, brochure 2015, whatever it is, select that template, and the product will then go ahead and send that out for you. So we promote it primarily for the core NAV features and where it saves the time, but it does add value in other areas once you have the setups in place. So that covers what DocumentPath does, at a very high level without going through all the different variations and features it has. So I think at this point, I'm going to ask Abby if anyone has posed any questions.
All right, great, Rob. We do have a few. Let me get them here. Okay, here's our first question. If we attach engineering drawings to our purchase orders in NAV, can DocumentPath send those along with the PO?
Yes, yeah, and you know what? I normally try to hit on that. That's a good one. When we were looking at the message templates, and I should go to my purchase order one, which is what we're talking about, and actually have the setup done here. I had mentioned under additional attachments, you can include things like terms and condition sheets. These would be fixed documents that never change and go out with every PO. DocumentPath supports NAV record links as well. So there's a setting on the template. By default, it's not filled in. But this lets you say if there are record links attached to the purchase order when you send it out, what do you want to do? And we have the option to include them as additional attachments or append them directly to the primary PO PDF. Now, and that's only if they are in PDF format. They can only be merged if they match. So we actually we had a case of exactly that where we implemented for a customer that attaches engineering drawings to their POs. They turn on the option to include those, and whenever they send the PO out to the vendor, those drawings automatically go along with it. So, good question.
Okay, great. Our next question, how much time would we need from ABC to implement the product?
Yep, and that's an important thing too. We work very closely with all of our partners and resellers. We've had a relationship with ABC for a very long time. So typically the partner would work with you through the, getting this into your database, providing the training, helping with some of the setup. I stressed earlier that we do aim to have a very low cost rollout, and that means not a lot of time. I know some other solutions, as soon as you ask about the time involved, they're talking at least a couple days. For the implementations that have been done on DocumentPath to date, pretty much all of them have been in kind of the 4 to 8 hour range for services. And again, it comes back to some of our streamlined tools. Another one that we have is an integration tool to automatically add it to any NAV database. So when you're seeing those different page actions on the sales order and other things that we've added, and you're thinking, it's going to take a long time for a developer to put all those in, this tool does it automatically. So it's still, you're a half hour to an hour of somebody just going through this process, doing an export of objects from the NAV database, running this tool, bringing it back in. But it's far, far faster than most add-ons which require a developer to merge the changes in. So this will work with any NAV database, no matter how customized it is. So again, the quick answer on that one, typically plan for something in the 4 to 8 hour range of services to get DocumentPath running.
Okay. Our next question, if we have DocumentPath, will upgrades take more time in the future?
No. Again, that's our intention with this integration tool. When it comes time to upgrade, you only worry about true customizations that ABC has done for you and moving those forward. DocumentPath gets ignored entirely when the time comes for an upgrade. Instead of worrying about moving it forward, if I use, if you were on NAV 2013 and you're moving to NAV 2015, again, you would ignore DocumentPath in the old database entirely. You would just use our latest and greatest integration tool in NAV 2015 to put DocumentPath into that database, And then, like I said, just worry about the true customizations that need to move forward. So all the data and setups that are done move forward fine. So really it's intended to be a near zero time upgrade path.
Okay, great. Well, at the moment,
did anyone ask?
Go ahead.
Sorry, did anyone ask when my dog will stop barking?
The joy of puppies.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, at the moment, those are all the questions we have. I will remind everyone that we do record all of our webinars. This one will be on our website by the end of the day. Again, that's abc-computers.com. So anybody else in your organization can watch it, you can rewatch. And if you think of any questions later, you can feel free to contact us here at ABC Computers. We will get those questions answered for you. We have a close working relationship with Rob and everybody over there at Epimatic. So any questions you have, if we don't know the answer, we can get it for you. So Rob, I want to thank you for your presentation today. It's really been very informative on DocumentPath, and I know we're going to have some people interested after this.
Yeah, sounds good. And likewise, thank you for coordinating this, Abby, and thank you everybody that was able to make the time to attend. Hopefully you found it worthwhile.
Great. Well, everyone have a great morning, and we will see you at our next webinar.
Thank you.